Cartridge, my friend here, Tony Hughes. We're here really because Christ. That's why we're here. Tony, what's the purpose of our show?
It's a Christian perspective to firearms. A lot of people think that Christians are sheep, that they can't defend themselves. That they think, in the verse of the Bible where Jesus says, "Turn the other cheek," that means that we can't fight or anything. All Jesus was talking about there was saying, you can avoid something that could be worse, by turning the other cheek. Because you get smacked in the face, there's a time if you've got a chance to get out of the way, get out of the way. To avoid, it escalates. You come into where you have to use fire.
Now, as I recall from that verse, that was more along the lines of an insult.
Right,
We certainly don't want anybody shot, killed over an insult. Right. So we're glad you're here with us. As our first intro, our first video, we wanted to talk a little bit more about the basics of a cartridge. For you newbies out there, cartridge would be the full, complete cartridge, which would contain all of the four components that we have here before you. And Tony's going to tell us a little bit more about that. We're going to get you a little bit closer view of that, so stay standing by here, and we'll get our camera moved, and we'll show you.
Moving the camera in to where we can get a good close-up of our components, and we need to adjust a little bit. Okay. Components of a cartridge, thank you, sir. All of these put together would be a cartridge. Okay, you start out with your primer here, this little thing right here. This is a center fire round. As you see a hole inside of this. This primer right here would be inserted into this hole, and then the propellant would be added, and then the bullet would be added onto that, and then you come up to where you have a cartridge, a fully loaded cartridge.
Now, to clarify some things, Tony, when we talk about, I know when we're talking about our primer is really what contains what starts the spark inside the cartridge.
Yes.
And then when we talk about our flake powder here, this is more of a propellant. It's not like what we think of and say in the old cowboy movies where you have somebody would strike a match to a box of black powder, and it would. This is not like the explosive that was used in those firearms. This is more along the lines of a propellant. Now, what's the difference in, say, an explosive, which is what your traditional black powder was, and a propellant?
Well, think about this. You've seen in the movies where people use plastic explosives or any kind of explosive, it's all of a sudden the release, the total release of energy right there. It's just a millisecond. All that energy is turned loose. With your smokeless powder, which is here, this is a controlled burn. Okay, this charge of powder, it does not, when the primer is set off, as your projectile is traveling down the barrel, this powder is still burning. Okay, it doesn't all go off at just one time, because if it did, it would blow the gun up. Your pressures would spike so high that the gun would just come apart. Your barrel would just
Be like a bunny cartridge.
Yeah, it would. And the difference here, this is an auto cartridge, and this is a revolver cartridge. We'll get into just a little later on in another video.
I want to ask you a little bit more about that powder up there. To me, that does not look like a lot of powder, but how many rounds of, say, this 9mm here, how many rounds could you load out of that one section of powder there?
If I had my scales to where I could, weigh it out exactly, I use long shot a lot. This may sound real technical for some people, but you have different types of powder that have different burn rates. That's how fast they're going to burn or how slow they're going to burn. That controlled burn. This right here on a 9mm with a 115 grain bullet, your max load with long shot powder is 6 grains. You know, I don't know exactly how many grains this right here is. It looks a little over to me, but I'd have to have my scales in here to know exactly how much this is. You know, and that's predetermined. You know, you've got manuals if you reload, or even the people that load. You know, they've got sheets that they go by. You know, it's the Bible to reloading cartridges or loading cartridges. You know, it's a set amount of a type of powder to go into a certain cartridge.
Well, we hope you are enjoying being with us. This is the first of hopefully many videos we'll have here from the Guard Dogs. We're glad you're here, and we have several things we want you to remember, but above all, what we'd like for you to remember is, as a Guard Dog, we are trained by the Master. We just ask you to listen to the Master's voice and always be on guard. Thanks for joining us.